This is a TalkStation original podcast.
On this week's episode of the Paper Boys podcast, JJ and I talk about the top 10 stories going into this year's high school spring sports season. We talk about potential state championships, win streaks that could come to an end, and we make our predictions for each sports player of the year. It all starts right now on the Paper Boys podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Paper Boys podcast. I'm JJ Smith.
And I'm Zack Nally.
We're reporters with the Carteret County News-Times, and today is just us. We're not interviewing anybody, so I know that's everyone's favorite.
Welcome, fam.
Just hearing our voice. We are going to discuss high school spring sports, which, in the words of what's her face, Gwen Stefani, spring sports is that song with the letters.
It's bananas.
Yeah.
B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
100%. As the West Carteret Band will play every fall in the football season.
So it's funny you mentioned that. I was writing my editorial for this week for sports, and I almost thought about talking about like if softball could be played, or some sport that's in the spring could be played in the fall. So I thought about softball because there's not as many girls options in the fall, but then I realized there's golf and tennis.
Soccer.
But I mean, well,
no,
volleyball.
You're right.
Because volleyball is a small team, and then cross country.
Right.
But if you look at the number of sports that are available each season,
oh my gosh,
I think between the boys and the girls, fall has 7, winter has 8, and spring has 9.
Croatan has 9 teams in the spring.
Yeah.
9. To quote Ferris Bueller, 9 times.
Yeah. If you add up the number of teams, obviously it's much more.
9 times.
Yeah.
9 teams.
Yeah, 9.
West has 8 because they don't have girls lacrosse.
That's right.
And East has 7 because they don't have either lacrosse.
That's right.
So math says that's 24 teams we cover in the spring.
It's a lot.
That's a league.
It's a lot.
We're covering a sports league.
And it's hard to try to give everybody attention, but that's what we're going to try to do today.
Yeah, we'll try to hit. So we're doing a David Letterman top 10 list of the top 10 things we think are the biggest questions of the year. So, as David Letterman would say, we need Paul Schaefer over playing the drums, but you don't know those
I'm
references.
too young
You're
to
too
know
young
that
to know those
reference.
references.
Sorry.
Shut up. Okay, so number 10. Can the West Carteret girls soccer team win its first league title since 2017?
I remember that 2017 team. Brie Mason was on that team.
Brie Mason, Delaney Dodge.
I remember because the game at Jacksonville was the pivotal game, and I went to Jacksonville to that game.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of confusion at the end when they lost.
Oh.
Or maybe it was a tie.
I think it was a tie.
It was a tie, and so that resulted in a tie.
Right, with Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 7 years.
That's a long time.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Well, 3A Coastal Conference.
It's
and
tough.
To quote Craig McClanahan, Coastal Conference man.
Yeah, it's a real for soccer. It's the real deal.
Soccer, boys and girls, is tough. Yeah. So they had a really good year last year. They were second in the conference. The only team they lost to was the champion, Dixon. They lost to them both times. And Dixon lost their number one scorer, Olivia Terry. She had 28 goals. The second girl in Dixon had 12, so she was by far their top scorer. So not to say that she leaves and they crate or anything, but I imagine West looks at that and thinks, hey, we got an opportunity. They bring back Chloe Dunn, who was our News-Times Player of the Year. She's a fantastic keeper. They got their 2 best scorers back in Sam Huber and Sasha Baker. And so, man, if they're going to do it, this is a good year to do it.
Yeah, they have a good coach. They have a good schedule, and if you have a good keeper in the back, now you just have to worry about scoring goals. Can you generate goals? Can you connect from the wings to the middle? Can you finish? There's been a lot of teams that have come through, boys and girls soccer, that has a lot of firepower, but they just can't finish.
Finishing, that's the thing.
So, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for them this year.
Quick note on their coach, Corey Noe. He's in my phone as capital N, lowercase o, capital E, because there's no E in Corey.
There's no E in Noe.
There's no E in Corey. And because my phone is so used to that, every time I type now to somebody, it types capital N, lowercase o to capital E instead of now. So do they do it? I'm gonna go ahead and call it and say they do it.
They're gonna win a conference.
They're gonna win conference championship.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking last year, and you said they mentioned that they lost twice to Dixon, and I was curious how well they had done in scoring goals against conference opponents. They're second, same as their place in the conference. So. They did score 27 goals. It's worth noting in non-conference play that it's third best, but still pretty good.
Sam and Sasha were really lights out. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and give that.
I'm going to agree with you.
Give that to the
Let's
pass.
go with it. Let's be optimistic.
Yeah, let's be optimistic. Come on. Okay, number 9. Was that a 1-year blip for the Croatan girls soccer team?
We were just talking about it during the break beforehand that, once you've been doing this for a really long time, it's hard not to go into each season with a sort of fresh mind. You kind of erase whatever happened last year, which I think is probably the same for coaches. That's what you want your kids to come in.
That's
and
right. That
whatever happened.
The cornerback mentality.
That's right. Yeah. Have a short memory.
Yeah.
I forgot that's what last season was
Right.
until I went and looked at the numbers last week. Shocking.
Worst season in the history of the school.
It was tough. Yeah. And they had a lot of turnover.
They had lost a ton.
They did.
Yeah. But at Croatan, they usually rebuild. They reload. They don't rebuild.
Yeah, it's rare to see, even if there's a lot of young, because these girls or boys, they're playing club soccer.
Right.
They're playing year round.
Since they're 5.
A lot of them are younger siblings of girls who have come through the program, so they know what to expect. They know how the standards are, and it just didn't click last year. Now, they do have a new coach this year.
Cam Ormsby.
Okay, a county native from Stella,
Swansboro guy.
That's right.
Won state titles at Swansboro, as they are prone to do over at Swansboro. Played at App State. Coached in college.
Coached at Watauga.
Coached at Watauga High School.
Right after Doug Kidd had left to go to Swansboro.
Yeah, Doug Kidd was there.
That's right.
So he's got all these connections. Check out that story by J.J. Smith in the Carteret County News-Times.
Good story.
Doug Kidd from Watauga. He coaches alongside Jim Sheehan, who was his PE teacher.
Wow.
And AD when he was at Swansboro. He was an assistant coach at Bucknell in Pennsylvania when 30 minutes up the road was Paul Payne coaching Bloomsburg. He's buddies with Dave Miller. He's buddies with Buddy Carroll.
So the big names in Eastern North Carolina soccer.
He's just all these connections.
Well, and no disrespect to Paul Slater. We think he's a great coach, phenomenal. But we do see when a first-year coach comes in,
might be
they bring energy. They bring a different approach, and it'll be exciting to see. You have to believe that it's going to be better than
has
last
to be
year.
better than 4-16.
Will they win? Will they go to the third round of the playoffs? Will they win the conference?
Right. No.
I don't think that's an expectation anyone should have.
Probably
but
not.
Will they finish over 500? I should hope so.
Yeah, and he said that in the preview. He was like, it's not like we finished third in the conference. It's not like we lost in the first round. He was like, it was 4-16.
It was bad.
Yeah. When they were coming off the regional final appearance. When they were coming off 3 straight conference championships and lost like 1 conference game in 3 years.
Yeah, it's one thing to finish around 500 and be disappointed based on what the past has been, but to fall that quickly.
I mean, you go back and look in their history. A bad year for them was like 17 when they go 9-10-2.
That's right.
That's a bad year. Other than that, they're winning 13, 14, 15, 16 games. So, yeah, that was I'm going to say that's a blip. No way they go 4-16 again.
No, probably, I mean, 10 wins, 12 wins, something like
500.
That. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Again, that's a tough conference, but
sure.
I think first-year coach, everybody's got a bad taste in their mouth. They're not going to want to do that again.
From a very specific type of conference to a different conference, East Girls Soccer. I covered, was Clinton last year's regional final?
Year before.
Oh, okay.
Year before.
Okay.
Because Croatan and East both made it that year.
Okay, that's the year. That's the year. Okay, so can they get back to a regional final this year?
Last year they lost in the third round, which for them's a bad year.
That's right.
At East, because that girls' program, team sports, take away track and field, take away cross country, take away wrestling, team sports, East girls soccer is top 2 or 3 in the county. Accomplishment-wise,
they're one of the toughest teams to judge because their regular season record can be really ho-hum,
and then
they get to the third or fourth round, and you're scratching your head like, what? But hey, I mean, respect.
In the past 10-ish years, they've been to 3 regional finals and a state championship game.
Don't talk about the state championship game.
One of your worst memories ever.
It was my very first year working here. Penalty kicks, wherever you are, keeper, bless your heart.
Oh, that was rough.
You did a great job.
Yeah,
did everything you could.
So they lost to Manio. Can they get back to the regional final? They're in 2A now, which one of the criticism of esports is they can make playoff runs as 1A.
Yeah.
2A is a whole different animal.
Probably their last year of 2A, right?
Well, who knows? We'll see. That's such a
Are we not going to 8?
That's such a weird thing. Well, you're talking about.
I'm talking about. Yeah, this is their last year in this arrangement.
Right. It'll be a whole different. You're right.
Which
it's a
kind
whole
of
different deal.
Puts a tinge on how everybody's going to do in the playoffs a little bit. Like you have to imagine there's going to be more opportunities.
Right.
You'd hope so.
They're not getting to the state final. I can tell you that. I'm just going to go ahead and call
Whoa.
that. Because Manio won the state title last year, and their 3 best players were sophomores.
Mariners, you have a bulletin board
I'm
material.
just saying. Manio is the repeat
You're
state
just
champion.
taking a realistic approach.
Yeah, Manio is the repeat state champion.
Okay.
But nobody's beating Manio.
Rude.
They're not. None of the charters are beating Manio. Nobody.
Well,
beat
Manio needs something for.
There's probably not had a lot of championships in
that's
Manio.
right.
But also Roanoke Rapids, Seaforth, Franklin Academy, Southwest 2A is pretty loaded.
Well, I imagine
just get to a regional final.
I imagine a lot of those teams are not going to be in the same classification as East
coming up
next year and going forward.
No.
Just to throw that out there.
I'm going to say we said yes, West will win a conference championship. We said
is East getting
yes,
to the 2A East regional
final? That is
final?
a one-year blip for Croatan. I'm going to say no, they don't make it to the regional
no
final.
Regional final. So where
how amazing was
round?
it though for them to go 1A regional final and the next year get bumped up to 2A and go right back to a regional
and
final?
that was a great game.
That
against
was crazy.
Clinton. Yeah,
they had a great defense that year.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah, and they lost a ton. Last year was a good year. I mean, you lose. Look, that was the point of my season preview. You've reached a particular place in life when you lose in the 3rd round and you find it disappointing.
Who's playing for them this year that gives them?
Well, they have the Fabulous Four. I think it's the Fabulous Four, Fabulous Five. I'll have to write them off to see how many. But it's Tiana Staryu, Kenliana Dixon, Emerson Tarr, who's a great defender. Who am I missing? Tiana, Kenliana, Emerson, Kate Wolf,
Okay.
and Brinley Thompson.
There you go.
And they've been playing together like we were talking about earlier since they were 5, and they're really good.
Yeah, Kenliana last year scores 40 goals, 28 assists. That's it. 40 goals. Tiana with 22 goals, 23 assists.
Yeah,
2 very impressive scorers.
right. So I'm going to say they have another poor Mariners. They have another rough year. They're going to make it to like the 3rd or 4th round.
Bless their hearts.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is BJ Frazier, head football coach at East Carteret High School, and you are listening to the Paper Boys Podcast.
Does East Carteret baseball reach the regional final? So here's the deal with the Mariners last year. It's one of those deals where it's always fun to be, the what-if situation and the kind of transitive property kind of deal. So they lost to Midway in the 3rd round last year, and all the East folks will tell you that there was a very controversial call in that game that led to a 4-2 loss. They only lost by 2 runs, and that controversial call kind of led to those 2 runs. So had they won that, they would have hosted a 4th round playoff game versus Camden County, who beat Midway 5-4. So you figure we barely lost to Midway. If we could have pulled that off, we'd have played a team that barely beat Midway.
Right,
so
at least be a
50-50 game.
A pick 'em
maybe.
game, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
And then Camden goes on and wins the regional and loses the regional final, but only by 1 run. So you figure we're as good as all these teams probably. We're as good as Midway. We're as good as Camden. South Granville beat Camden by 1 run, and then South Granville goes and loses the state championship by 2 runs. So all these games will come down to two or three plays, and he says, like, maybe we're 2 or 3 plays away from playing in the state final.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they lost their 2 best hitters in Jacob Nelson, who had a monster year, just unbelievable
monster 4
numbers.
years, but sure.
Brody Nelson was their 2nd best hitter. He also put up monster numbers. So
Was Jacob News Times Player of the Year?
He was the News Times Player of the Year. He put up, Ruthian type numbers over there at East
News
Carteret.
Times, it's a great newspaper.
Yeah, in the senior year. So not to say they haven't lost anything, but they had 4 freshmen that played. 3 were really good. They've got tons of pitching back. They've got a leadoff guy. They've got a great catcher. They are set up very well. Funny thing is, they might maybe finish 2nd in their conference, but then go on a run in the 2A playoffs.
That's the East thing.
Because Northside's really good.
But then they get dropped to 1 as they can move on to 2.
So, yeah. So do they reach the regional final? That's quite a lofty question.
What's the answer?
I'll say another really good run, 3rd or 4th round. I won't put them in the regional final. But I think it'll be like last year. I think they'll be 2 or 3 plays away.
Yeah, it's hard for me to look at last year's result, which of course came from a controversy,
right,
and say that you're going to lose Jacob Nelson and do better.
And Brody Nelson.
And do better.
Right. And Alex Dones, who was a good senior.
He was.
So, right. Yeah, that would be tough.
Those are
a
tough
lot of
losses.
production.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not a bad point. And hey, again, talking about East Girls Soccer, if you only in quotations mark only make it to the 3rd or 4th round,
It's better than most.
Yeah. Jacob Nelson, 513 average.
That's all.
45 runs, 5 home runs.
45 runs.
45 runs.
How many hits?
5 home runs, 8 doubles, 30 stolen bases, 4 triples, and 25 RBIs. So that's the reason he was the
How many
next
hits?
I don't know. Whatever equals 513 average.
Well, okay, but I mean, it's like it's so rare that you see.
Brody Nelson was only second on the team with a 403 average and 36 RBIs. He had 4 doubles, had 2 home runs. He had 22. Yeah, Alex Jones. You're like, oh, Alex Jones. He was only the 3rd best player. Oh yeah, he had 365 and stole 21 bases and had 24 RBIs and 28 runs. So yeah, that is a ton of offensive production. Like you said about to replace that is tough. To say you lose.
Say you'll do better after
Right.
you lose it. That's the thing.
Right. So we'll say no, but still a good year for the East Carteret baseball team.
I just had to look because I wanted to, so it's 45 runs, 39 hits. You have to be an elite player. It's very rare to see
numbers like that. Those are Joe Mason. Those are who else have we had seen numbers like Garner a couple years ago at West.
Right.
Like 4 or 5 people have put up numbers like that in the past 10, 15 years.
Well, and to have that many hits but still have more runs.
Yeah.
Is crazy.
And to be across the board good at everything. All right. Next question. So we'll stay on the baseball beat. Stay on the diamond. Does the West Carteret baseball conference streak come to an end?
Was it 6, 7?
They're going for 7.
Golly day.
7 conference championships in a row. So what were these kids? The kids that are seniors this year.
What's been that way since
they were like
7th
10
grade?
years old?
7th? No,
when
like
this started?
Sixth grade.
Yeah.
That's like 12.
No, they were like 4th grade. They were like 10 years old when this started.
You're saying 7? If they're going for their 7th straight year.
Yeah, and they're 17 years old now. They were 10 when this started.
I guess you're right, but when I think about grades, though.
You're 10 years old. You're like 4th grade.
Senior
right?
minus 7 is like 7th grade, 6th grade.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, no, I guess 6th grade.
People are like, God, they're idiots.
Well, look, we're sports people. You gotta forgive us.
We work with words, not numbers.
But you're right. No, you're saying that they don't know a time when the West Carteret
their whole middle
team,
school coming to games. All they know is watching West Carteret win conference championships.
Right. And you certainly don't want to be part of the group that ends that streak.
Right. But they lost their 2 best pitchers, Jackson Sproul, CW Bear.
Which Jackson, I think, was one of the top players that we were putting up against Jacob.
He was in the running
to look at player of the year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he had a good year at the plate, too.
Yeah, he did both well.
Which is, if you're going to win player of the year, that helps to be the
right.
two-way guy. Sproul and Bayer combined for about 85 innings last year of their 142. So you've lost, like East has lost a ton of offensive production. West has lost a ton of pitching production. And then you lose your best hitter, Landon Millis, who hit 418. You lost Josh Mason, who was one of your best players last year. They've lost a lot. And Brooks Jernigan, who is the coach, this is year 5, I think, for him, but he's been with the program 21. He says out of 20 years, he's never seen a more inexperienced group.
He doesn't know what to expect.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, same thing about the rest of the conference. You don't know what the rest of the conference is necessarily going to look like.
Right.
When we did basketball previews, everyone said White Oak was going to be a state champion team, second in the conference. So, it just, and they may still, you never know, but things shape out differently sometimes. But they are bringing back some talent. They bring back Rylan Howell.
Yep.
Who hit 348 last year, 16 runs, 26 RBIs, 11 extra base hits. They bring back. He also was a pitcher, a 4.5.
They're counting on him a lot.
They are, yeah. He's going to throw a lot. He had a 3.55 ERA last year. He only threw 21 innings, but he threw 43 strikeouts, so pretty good. And they're bringing back Cameron Pavey, another two-way guy, who hit 415 at the plate and then pitched 27 innings with a 3.04 ERA.
Basically, Ryland and Cameron need to be Jackson and CW this year.
They have to come up and be those two-way studs that those guys can lean on. Yeah. Absolutely.
Swansboro was pretty good last year.
They were. Yeah. They were. And they do bring back. They only lost their top hitter and their second pitcher.
Okay.
So they're bringing some talent back.
Croatan had a really rough year. They also have a new coach. A lot of new coaches over at Croatan. Ryan Morris. And on the season preview for that team, he was like, if you talk to every kid on this team, everyone will tell you last year was not the year we expected to have. Talking about as me.
Having bigger
expectations. As a hitter.
I see.
I didn't expect to have. Every single player did not live up to what he thought he was going to be.
Gotcha.
So this year, all 9 are looking to bounce back.
Okay.
So
individually, but obviously as a team as well.
And that helps
but
the team, obviously.
Sure.
So does Croatan end it? Does Swansboro end it?
That conference streak? That's tough.
Going for 7?
Yeah.
I'm going to say the streak comes to an end.
This is the year?
This is the year.
How come?
Just they lost so much. You lost 2 of your best hitters. You lost 2 of your, I mean, we talked about East losing, 2 of their most offense, and we're talking about West losing their best pitching, but also some of their best offense as well. That's a lot to overcome.
Now, and I'm looking at stats last year for Croatan. They didn't seem to lose a lot.
They bring back everybody.
Everybody.
And they were 7-3. I
and
think.
Again, we have we love the old coach,
Josh Schaefer,
but a new coach comes in, brings a different.
It's new energy, right?
That's right. So you're saying it ends. I'm gonna flip it because there are certain programs and you kind of get a feel for it as a
I'm not saying West is going to collapse. I'm saying
not
8-2.
Right. Maybe they. You know what? I'm gonna sit right on the edge of this fence.
Oh, look at you! You're going to go for a tie.
I'm gonna say they're gonna tie for first. That's right.
Which they've done in that period.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that makes a lot of sense because I can see Croatan and Swansboro splitting.
Could you see like 3 teams like 8-2 or something?
I could honestly see 3. I could see. Yeah.
Everybody beats everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
At least once.
Right.
Yeah.
I could see that. I'm going to say they maybe lose once to each of those, and then maybe get swept by one of those. So they get 3. So they're 7-3 or something. Maybe 8-2, 7-3. But yeah, I think they're like second. So not a bad year for the Patriots. Just man, at some point it has to end. You can't win 15 in a row or whatever. Question number 5: do the Croatan boys win the first outdoor track and field state title in county history?
It's never happened.
Never. Not in boys. It only happened once in girls. That's West Carteret.
Now, we recently had some of these fellas.
That was a recent podcast.
In the office here with us in the studio.
That's right.
Head coach Rico Quispe. Matthew Quispe.
Yep.
And Luke Nicolaisen. They seemed pretty confident.
They seemed extremely confident.
They seemed like this was the year. I'm going to go ahead and trust that gut instinct.
Yeah.
And you look at everything they've got, their ability to excel in relays.
Yep.
What they can do individually, barring a situation like what happened to Matthew when he hurt his leg. That's right.
Right.
Listen to that pod. That's a great episode.
Well, there you go. Their best, maybe their best overall runner hurts his hamstring. Isn't it?
This is for winter.
This is winter. They won the state title. They've won 2 in a row, I think. They've won 3.
Right.
They've won like 4 out of the past 5 or something.
But he gets to the winter meet, the state meet.
Yeah.
Hurts his leg.
He hobbles to the end in that race. He races again and can barely do, and they win by like 30 points.
So
now winter and spring are 2 very different things.
That's right.
Yeah.
Some people that would be doing it in the winter are playing basketball.
That's right. Still though, these are their finishes over the past 6 years: 4, 2, 2, 5, 2, 3. The Cougars, they're pretty good.
So they second in 18 and 19.
They've been a runner-up 3 times in the past 6 years.
Oh, and 22. Wow.
Yeah.
Never quite over that.
Pretty good at the old track and field over there in Ocean.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Pretty. I don't know if that's copyright infringement. I don't know if we have to take that out. But yeah, I think, and they've got 11 seniors. They're killing it. This is the year. There's a boys state champion in track and field in the county for the first time ever.
You're calling the shot?
I'm calling it.
Great.
They got it. Sticking on the track and field beat.
Manifesting it for the Cougars.
Manifesting it, as the kids say. Tyler Collins, she had won state championships in the high jump, winter and spring sophomore year, winter and spring junior year, and doing the double again this year. Gets hurt in the winter, and is not able to do the winter season. Also won a national championship last year. National championship. Was a national championship runner-up before that. So does she get back on her normal routine of winning state titles and national championships?
She's certainly been impressive.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine a scenario in which she does not.
If she's healthy. If she's healthy, it's you hate to say it because you don't want to put pressure on a young lady who's all of 17 or 18 years old, but yeah, she's probably going to win a state title.
Well, and you mentioned it. She did not compete in the winter.
Right, and so you wonder if the health is she okay? Is the ankle okay and stuff? But yeah, she's. We'll just go ahead and say if she's the Tyler Collins that we've come to know, then yeah, that's another.
What is she, a 5'5" jumper, 5'6", 5'7"?
She's getting up to like 6 foot.
I'm Rodney Kemp, and you're listening to the Paper Boys Podcast.
Did the Croatan boys lacrosse team get to the state championship?
Man. Okay, so you're starting with boys.
Yeah, that's the number 2. That's the number 3
All right,
question. Well, question-wise,
let's
really
give the people
2.
the facts before we give them our opinions. Because
Okay.
I got opinions.
Okay, so they have the same thing as East Carteret, and theirs is even closer, where they were up in the 3rd round of the state playoffs versus Northwood. They were up 4-1, and I covered that game, and they were cruising. Their defense was playing lights out. They looked great. It looked like they were going to a 4th round, and then just you talk about Uncle Mo switching uniforms and walking over to the other bench, and it flipped. And Northwood scored 4 goals in about a 2-minute period and ended up winning 5-4.
Wowzers.
Northwood, they go on to beat Havelock in the 4th round, 15-4.
Smoked them.
So Croatan was like, seriously, we could have been in the regional final like nobody's business, just like easy peasy. No offense to Havelock, but if you lost 15-4,
That's easy peasy.
That's one-sided. Northwood goes on to win the regional final.
Wow.
Over Orange.
Wow.
10-8. So Croatan, like East baseball, but only much more, is looking at last year and like we were a player or 2 away from being in the state final.
Right.
We're going to beat Havelock,
Absolutely.
and maybe we beat Orange. Looks like that was right there. But now, granted, the state championship, Lake Norman Charter beat Northwood 19-8. So there's no we could have won the state title, but
once you get there,
we would have been there.
Yeah.
So Northwood was really good last year, especially offensively. Their top 3 guys combined for about 200 goals.
That's it.
Just 200. Top guy had 74, next guy had 69, next guy had 60. All seniors.
Wow.
So you figure if you're Croatan and you bring back just about like 95% of your team.
And let's be real here. Yes, they do bring back everybody because it's 11 people on the
They bring back a lot. They lost some defenders.
But what really matters, and this is so sorry for the people who are not part of that graduating class on that team. We mean no disrespect, but a group of freshmen came in 2 years ago.
They were like a JV team.
They were
last year.
Sophomores last year.
Yes.
And now this year they're juniors. That graduating class, Graham Myers, Asher Denham, Mache Roth, Drew DeGeorge, Brandon Pugh. Is it Brandon Pugh? These guys are the real deal.
They're that cycle that you hope for.
You exactly.
Once a generation.
That's right. I mean, Croatan girls basketball and soccer had a group like that.
East boys basketball.
East boys basketball. So you bring up East boys basketball, and that's where I'm going to go with this.
Nice segue.
First off, though,
we do this for a living.
I do want to say though that this is what's coming back from those guys. Graham Myers, 34 goals. Asher Denham, 32 goals. Mache Roth, 23 goals. Drew DeGeorge, 21 goals. Brandon, 16 goals.
All sophomores.
All
1,
sophomores.
2, 3, 4, 5 sophomores led them in scoring.
Do lose their senior keeper or senior goalie.
Do you know who the goalie is this year?
I don't. Is it Davis Foxworth?
It's Graham Myers, who is a Division
So-
I level recruit.
So, and in fairness, I believe at club level he does play in the goal.
That's why, yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying, he's a recruit for the goal as a goalie.
Yeah, he's a Division I, high level Division
Recruit
I.
as a goalie, but has not played goalie. Has been playing in the field.
No, club he plays goalie.
Yes,
he is
but
a goalie.
for school he plays in the field because why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right, I take back everything. All right. Here's what I think. After seeing those guys play and being a fan of sports, hey, I really want them to follow that East Carteret boys basketball arc.
Every one round further every year.
Well, yeah, but a little. I want them to go to the state finals this year. I think they're going to go to the state
You
finals
think the
this year.
question that we're asking,
They're going to lose.
Right, to Lake Norman Charter or whatever or whoever.
But next year,
when they're seniors,
that's the championship.
that's the year. Just like East Boys you're talking about. They were all juniors.
100%.
They lost.
100%.
Senior year is like
Yeah.
Unfinished business was the.
We want Disney storybook, music in the air.
You don't want them to win in the juniors.
I mean, it'd be great.
Yeah, but
it's
gonna be
better.
tough.
Better story.
It's going to be tough. Yeah.
If they advance and lose,
right.
they go home and they say, "Not again."
Right. That's right.
And they spend 364 days.
That's right. Every day
grinding.
Yeah, they've got like photos of late Norman Charter.
I think right now they need to. They're at the age that they are right now. What they need more than a championship is a taste of understanding that they are a championship
Because right now
material
it's like,
team.
oh, we maybe could have.
Yeah. Oh, we should have.
Yeah.
But you don't really know.
That's right.
Yeah.
You might have lost to Orange in the regional final.
That's right.
That's right.
Opposite for the Croatan girls lacrosse team.
Right.
Who before last year had no plans or fantasy of winning a state championship.
Had never won a playoff game.
And then boom, the NCHSAA says we're going to split 1A, 2A, 3A off from 4A.
Right.
And I mean, we've written lots of stories. I've done lots of editorials about this, but the grand majority of state championship, every state champion
single one
had been 4A.
Right.
But the grand majority, like 92, 94% of
That
playoff
played.
teams
Yeah.
just made the playoffs have been 4A.
That's right.
So when they split it off and you looked at who was there last year, 1A, 2A, 3A, I personally, before the playoffs even started, said, "Oh, that's the state championship team, Croatan."
Yeah, well,
There's no shot.
All year long, it was like.
They hit it
because you looked at Max Prep's rankings and they were like number one all
well,
year.
and all the teams they were going to face in the playoffs, they'd already beaten.
Right, and handily.
Yeah, and then you
Yeah.
look at the team in the West, the top team in the West, and it was just okay.
Yeah,
And-
Bishop looked good.
Yeah, Bishop McGinnis was all right.
Yeah.
But to me, it made perfect sense when they won a state championship.
Right.
But your question here,
The number one question of the spring.
number 2.
Well, it's really number one. We're going to do players of the year for number one.
The
But
number one question is, do they repeat?
do they repeat?
100%.
100%.
Yeah, and here's why. I don't want to downplay the loss of Kate Wilson. That's a huge loss.
She's a Division I player.
She is. And she was very good.
She's at Liberty.
She's at Liberty.
She's at Liberty.
Scored
Scored like whoa.
But here's the thing.
Also, and you've followed most of that playoff run.
I did.
I think I covered one game, maybe two. Cannot discount the girl who took her game to an entirely different level once the postseason hit. Ginger Hayden on defense.
Okay, well, and I doesn't care what sport they're playing. You put Ginger Hayden on that team is better.
She's an athlete.
And she's tough
Right.
and she's disciplined.
But their defense went up a notch.
It did,
And
and
she
that's
was the leader.
very true.
Right.
Now, that said,
Well, and they lose Gracie Pickler, who
They
was
did.
a long-time 4-year girl.
she was the only 4-year.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
And Sophia Mendelia is not playing this year.
Her and Kate were the only 4-year. That's right.
So they've lost some players, for sure.
They have.
So there was loss. It's not like the Croatan boys.
No.
Right.
No.
Right. Who
They-
did lose a couple of defenders, but overall.
No, but overall they bring back. Yeah. No, these girls. But the important part is they bring back Lauren.
Lauren Hayden, who is not only one of the best girls lacrosse players in the state, if you believe Max Preps, she's one of the best girls lacrosse players in the country.
Last year she was she was nationally
She led,
listed in terms of
she led the nation in assists.
Absolutely.
And number 2 was like 50 behind her.
Yeah, so just for she finished with a team high 73 goals and a team high 142 assists.
Number 2 in the nation had 90 something.
That's right. And this third leading scorer after Kate, Maddie Sutton, 54 goals.
A freshman.
So
you would think
she's back.
She's going to make a jump.
And then you have Devin Moretti in the goal.
Who was a Division I player.
That's right. And I think that just want to point out 2 games, Lauren Hayden already has 7 goals and 8 assists. Just want to go ahead and put that out there. They are 2-0.
The beast.
Absolutely.
She just racks up numbers.
Absolutely. But because they split it off from 4A,
Yeah.
there's going to be a period of time where a few lucky teams are going to get to take advantage of the way the system is set up right now.
Yeah.
And I believe Croatan is that team for the girls lacrosse, and they are going to go and they're going to win.
To play devil's advocate, you covered that state final. It was pretty tight, pretty tough.
Not really.
No.
I mean,
You felt like they were controlled the
I
whole
felt
time.
like it was like to the first half it was back and forth.
It was like
but I feel like it was like
was a 2-goal lead at half or something like that.
it may have been.
Yeah.
But they were playing in a way that was like, we're not going to try to play with any mistakes.
Oh, they were tentative.
So very conservative.
Uh-huh.
Right. If they had let it loose from the start, it would have been different.
Plus first state title, final.
But they waited halftime, then they pressed the gas, and here it goes, 4-goal lead. and so the rest is history. But
the second half, you're like, this is over. I'm covering a state.
Absolutely.
I'm covering a state championship.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Devil's advocate, Bishop McGinnis brings back just about everybody.
Okay.
You ain't scared.
I just listen. You know, the question of whether or not they're going to make the state title, to me, that's not a question. They're going to make it.
They ran roughshod through the playoffs.
Yeah, and there's nobody in the East. First Flight, Northwood, Rose may have been one of those teams as well. I just outside of that,
Croatan beat Northwood in the regional final 15-8.
Yeah.
That was not.
That's a regional final.
That's a regional final.
And even that was a little bit, I'm sure they played a little conservative.
They beat Union Pines in the fourth round 18-7. They beat Swansboro in the third round 17-3. They beat North Brunswick 18. I mean, every game was just.
Yeah. No, this is
the hammer.
This is a time to take advantage.
Maybe that's a good
that
name
you
for
are
Nick.
Playing a Swansboro team that I think was well under 500 in the second round, third round, whatever that was. So, yeah, take advantage, Cougars.
And I'm assuming Bishop McGinnis is by far the favorite because they won their regional final 16-4.
Yeah, the West was, again, Bishop McGinnis is one of those teams that is taking advantage of a situation in which the door is open.
No more 4A. It's just it's the wild, wild west.
This is West Carteret coach Will Kennan, and this is the Paper Boys Podcast.
So who are our players of the year? Let's start with baseball. We've got a ton of candidates. We've already mentioned most of them. You know, Eli Jenkins, he's the center fielder, leadoff guy for East. He was a freshman last year. You got Brian Hatter at East, who was their top pitcher. He was a freshman last year. You got Rylan Howe at West, who was a good two-way guy for West. You got Cameron Pavey, who was a good two-way guy for West. And then Croatan, it's got like five guys who, you know, it could be any of those guys. You were the bureau chief of the Player of the Year until last year. So if anybody's mad at any Player of the Year of the history of the News Times,
that is categorically false. I have been the bureau chief of all county.
Oh no,
listeners!
That's right.
Listeners, please understand.
Oh my gosh!
that while we do debate Player of the Year,
under the bus, didn't I?
While we do debate Player of the Year, the final decision for all Players of the Year rests on the shoulders of the man across from me.
I'm sorry. You're right. You are the bureau chief of all county.
Which is much easier. I get 9 slots for baseball.
Yeah, well, even some of the Facebook people aren't happy with you about that, but
bless them. They can go and
start their own newspaper.
Go watch a Croatan West game and tell me who the best.
So you're right. We got lots of grief in the fall for Player of the Year, didn't we? Some people were not real happy about it.
Yeah, but to bring it up, you're talking about three guys at Croatan. More than likely, Chase Bird. Oh Lord, Nathan Griffin, Nate McAllowitz, Liam McFadden. These are all guys that they're going to do well.
You would think.
I think the issue we're going to have outside of Eli, I mean, maybe somebody else on East steps up in a big way.
Well, you were talking earlier. We're big fans of the two-way thing.
We are.
Because you just bring so much more value to the team.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I think so. And Eli's a great offensive player. Brian Hatter's a great pitcher.
But they don't really go. Eli's their closer, but he'll only pitch like an inning in a game, maybe.
Yeah, and a lot of this will depend on how well those teams do.
A lot of it comes down to team success.
You know, we have to have a conversation about Croatan basketball's role in the Player of the Year conversation for basketball.
Well, if West wins their 7th straight, you're probably getting a Player of the Year.
I would imagine you are, yeah.
Especially with all that they lost.
What if they have first round exit and East goes to the regional final?
Ooh, see, playoff success plays a big part in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, what if East goes to the regional final?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But you got to pick a player right now, today. You got to pick him.
Man, let's go. Man, I want to say Rylan Howe.
So that's what I'm going with.
Because of the two-way thing.
I'm going
because he's going to have good seasons both.
I think, yeah.
But
he was really up there last year with his numbers going both ways.
I think my dark horse candidate would be Eli Jenkins.
Eli Jenkins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Liam McFadden for my dark horse.
Oh, okay.
A two-way guy who
nice.
could have an exceptional year.
Softball, I think it's pretty easy. Caitlin DeMarce won as a freshman last year for West Carteret. Just had a fantastic season on the mound. Lights out. And the reason she wasn't talked about more on a regional level is because Richlands had a lights out pitcher.
Well,
and
so
Swansboro had a
Swansboro,
lights-out
yeah,
pitcher.
Yeah.
So she was like the third best pitcher in their conference, even though she was fantastic.
Yeah, and I got to cover all 3 of those pitchers last year.
Nice.
And Caitlin was very good.
She was right there with them.
And she has the personality of somebody that is going to continue to get better.
Is she going to win 4? Did we put that much pressure on her? Is she going to win 4 News Times Players of the Year?
That would be pretty cool.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
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 So I think she's a lock.
She's definitely an early favorite for sure.
Yeah. Soccer, lots of candidates. We have the returning News Times Player of the Year in Chloe Dunn, who had 7 shutouts. 4 of those were in 10 league games. So almost half the league games she pitched a shutout. She's one of is she the best goalie I've ever seen in the county?
Ooh, that's a great point.
She's
There's been
up
a
there.
lot of good goalies.
Yeah, there has been.
What could have been with Miss Waller? She was excellent.
Yeah, she didn't come back. Kelly Haggerty was really good.
Yeah, Kelly Haggerty, I would say. But see, the problem with Kelly Haggerty
She
is
never got the ball.
she could have read a whole library back in that goal.
The whole Harry Potter series.
She just never saw the ball.
No.
Now she had great saves. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. And when she needed to be stepped up, she stepped up. But
Yeah.
in terms of facing shots night in and night out, Chloe Dunn is.
Chloe Dunn might
really
argue.
good.
She's arguably the best goalie in the
Yeah.
past since the year 2000.
Probably.
in the 21st
Probably.
century. Yeah. Sam Huber had 20 goals, 12 assists.
Oh, she brings a lot of energy to the field.
She is a scorer, man. And then East puts up just crazy numbers because the competition in 1A is not that. Now, granted, the argument they would make, and Antonio Diaz, coach, would make is their whole entire non-conference is 3A. So it's not like their entire conference. It's not like their entire season they're playing nobodies.
Right, but are they beating those 3A
But
teams?
still, they're putting the goals is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see.
They're
You're
putting up
right.
stats.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
No, if you're scoring
matter of
goals
fact, they only
against,
play like 6 games versus 1A.
Okay, so if you're scoring those kind of goals against 3A
They play
teams,
West, they play Croatan, they play West Craven, they play White Oak. They play, they have
That's a good
people
point.
might say, oh, they're inflated, they only play 1A.
but
They're
then
in
you
a 1A
also have 2 really good scorers.
at East.
And you get into sort of a Shamel Charles thing with East with
Shamel
basketball.
Baker, Charles Matheka, and
That's
base
right.
basketball.
That's right. Where it's like, how do you pick one over the
That's
other?
right. That's right.
What if there's 2 here, but there's 1 over here, and both teams did
That's right.
pretty well?
Again, Croatan is hard to say because this is a bounce back year. We're hoping for them. So who do you pick?
I think for like it's hard, right? Like a pitcher for baseball,
Right.
A quarterback for football. There are certain positions that just
The
say
keeper.
if you are really good,
Right.
then it's hard to brush over that position.
I'm going to say Chloe goes back to back.
Okay.
I think the only thing that would keep her from going back to back, and of course health is everything, is she's so physical and comes out. I've seen her getting collisions with people.
She's tough.
Yeah, man. She's not afraid to rush an oncoming striker and just collide. Matter of fact, I had a photo of her knee like bending the wrong way it shouldn't have been. So hopefully she'll stay healthy and not have an injury. But if she does, I think she's our back-to-back. Lacrosse.
We don't do a girls lacrosse all county because it's just one team.
Right.
But in
We
terms
do
of
player of the year.
I mean, let's keep going. Lauren Hayden.
I mean, Lauren Hayden, she's maybe if things go, optimum, she might be North Carolina State Player of the Year.
Right. Gatorade level.
Yeah, forget
Yeah.
Carteret County.
Well, for our purposes,
Yeah,
that's easy.
She's Player of the Year.
All right.
Boys, last year it was Mache Roth. He's probably the favorite again. If it's not Graham Myers in goal, we haven't seen Graham Myers in goal, but according to George Benson and everybody, he's like lights out. So
if he scores any goals, if they bring him out
from time to time,
and he has 20 goals,
he's like a two-way
plus the keeper,
Is he the two-way guy?
it's done.
Or if it's like shutout, we're like, oh wow, Mache's put up some big numbers, but Graham is just like killing it.
Well, and Asher, Drew, those are all very good players as well.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we'll go to track and field. Last year it was Grace Guilford and Matthew Keesbay. If Tyler is healthy, again, that's the $10,000 question in the county track and field.
Well, and we had a big debate last year about that question
Yeah.
as well, and it came down to a little bit of number of sports played and things like that.
Well,
but
and plus it was Grace was in so many things. She was in relays.
That's
and
what I
so
mean.
many- yeah.
yeah,
And track and field, we take conference, we take regional, we take state.
that's right. That's right.
So
You guys should see the spreadsheets. that this man
the
across
amount of
from
time
me-
we spend on that is pretty ridiculous.
former players of the year. I hope that you
Appreciate it.
I hope that you've taken your titles with appreciation.
If you knew the Excel sheets and the back and forth, it's like arguing if it's LeBron or Jordan. I mean,
and like there's no trophy, there's no
they don't get nothing.
there's no thing. It's just in paper forever. You were the best in Carteret County.
And tennis and golf, we're not even.
Now hang on though, you brought up girls, but you didn't bring up boys. Matthew Keysbay gonna repeat?
I think so.
Okay,
if he's healthy.
Yeah.
And tennis and golf, we haven't even gotten to the previews yet. We haven't talked to the coaches. We do have a returning Kai Famanganska. I just destroyed that for East Carteret.
Oh.
So yeah, we'll revisit tennis and golf later on. Okay. So there's your spring. 24 teams in the county. We've got a team looking to go back-to-back state titles. We've got a boys lacrosse team that's looking to get to a state final. We've got
a baseball team looking for its 7th straight conference title.
You've got a baseball team thinks it maybe make a regional final run. You've got an e-soccer team that goes to the regional finals all the time and thinks they could get back. Man, spring sports.
Oh, a West soccer team that could potentially win its first title since 2017.
Croatan outdoor track and field team that wants to win its first state title.
In the county's
history. There's a lot going on this spring.
At the end of May, we'll see there's going to be some hardware handed out for sure.
Conference, regional, state.
Yeah.
Carteret counties can get it done in the spring.
Hey, being a reporter here for sports is not bad.
No, man, we cover some talented athletes.